Gosh, I need a haircut, man. There ain't no place to cut my hair around here. No, nothing.
So here it is. At the end of the show, we'll show our quarantine haircut.
Oh no, dude. Dude,
Come on.
I look like a '70s Afro, man.
Me too.
My hair goes. Shing.
All right, I want to welcome everybody to the Dentless Touch live show. We're going to be talking about some of the options that business owners, self-employed members of this great industry, the options that they have here. Things are constantly changing here, so we just wanted to bring you some updated information that we realized. Special guest, we have Myke Toledo, though.
What is
Anybody doesn't
going
know.
on, dude? What's going on?
And he has a channel here on YouTube, Dent Time. So make sure you check him out. A lot of videos, and I think me and you have been battling with the subscriber count here. So you gained some traction, I gained some traction. I think we've just been going back and forth with that. So
Oh man, yeah. I don't even. I don't know, man. It's just like we all do it for fun, man. I think
oh
it's
yeah, for
great.
sure.
So yeah, it
So
is what
tell
it
the
is.
viewers a little bit about you, your business, just for people in my channel that don't know.
Well, I've been doing this since 1991. My stepdad got me into the business. Struggled and struggled for probably the first 5 years of my career. So I'm just gonna sum it up. There was no YouTube, no forums, no nothing. My stepdad would get a little impatient with me and just say, "Look, Mike, it's just either high or it's low. Just do one or the other, right? Whatever." So I struggled, got good for years, didn't know how good or terrible I was. Lo and behold, I was getting better than the average guys out there, and then I got somewhat good, and now the average guys are better than me now. So and here we are, dude. I'm just kind of just a messenger between the industry and what's going on. So that's basically how I can sum it up, man. So yeah, I got Dent Time, and my wife is my partner in the crime, and then we started Dent Trainer with John Hiley, and man, it's just been branching out, doing all kinds of different things, but yeah, having fun, man. That's basically the name of the game. Having fun in this industry, it's great.
Yeah. And so you do podcasts, YouTube, training. I mean, you do it all.
Yeah, I'm getting so thin. I'm looking starting to be transparent, dude. Like you know what I mean. You can start seeing through me, dude. But no, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I pace myself pretty well. So coronavirus is kind of a almost a good thing in a way for me, honestly. So
Yeah, it's time to kind of reflect, do some of the things that are on, at least for me, I think I said it on your last video, was do some of the things on the to-do list. So
oh yeah.
I'm actually done with that list now. So I'm getting a little bored.
All right. No, my list never ends, dude. Let me tell you that.
Before we get into it, Joe said, do we burn out?
Do we burn out? Yeah, of course, man.
I
I
guess
do.
that's what he was saying.
I wouldn't say a burnout. There's a time where I take time out and have to reset. Yeah, I think everybody who pushes themselves, if you're not pushing yourself, then if you never resetted yourself, you're not pushing yourself enough. I I,
I
I don't
agree.
think there's a part where you go, I'm not gonna go too hard. You know what I mean? If you're either passionate about what you want to do or you're not, and you will have to reset yourself if you are one of those passionate PDR techs or passionate whatever you like to do.
Well, what's your reset? What do you do to reset?
I don't
Is
do anything. I don't want anything to do with PDR.
you go like hiking or
Yeah,
something else? I
or
mean,
I just take a vacation. My wife makes me take a vacation.
okay,
Okay, and
get
so
balance.
we go off and listen. A lot of things too is like time goes by pretty fast too. As much as we love PDR, we still got to pay attention to the most things that account, and that's our family. And if you don't reset at least with your family and spend some time with them, because though you don't get that time back, dude. You can get PDR time back anytime you want, but you don't get the family grown up stuff. And that's becoming way, and I know it's a cliche. People say, oh, family, you got to respect. It really starts meaning a lot when your kids are teenagers. My son's got 2 more years in high school, and he's off. He might never come back home. I don't know. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
and I don't know if you want to hang out with for another 10 years, because usually when I was in my 20s, I left. I never came home. I never did. You know. So, anyways, but yeah. So that's how I
I don't know.
receive.
I was thinking about that. I said, man, my daughter doesn't come home. Ah, man, it's gonna break my heart.
It does. It will hurt your feelings, man.
Like I did it to my mom though. Like as soon as I moved out the house, I don't know. I think I
Yeah.
was 21 when I moved out, and that was it. I mean,
Yeah.
she told me like once a month, and then it was like every 3 months.
Just be careful. Word of advice for PDR techs and fathers, or PDR mothers. You know, you don't spend enough time with them, they're not gonna spend enough time with you. That's just how it's gonna run. They're gonna treat you, not subconsciously the way you treat them. So,
Yeah.
because they're taught that way, right? You know
Right.
what
Yeah. For sure.
I mean?
All right, so let's get to it because I was doing some research today about all the different options that we have, and it seems to be I think about good 5 options. I have the layout of this live show. We're going to talk about the $1,200 kind of stimulus check that it seems like everybody will receive. There is some information about it um, that may benefit some people. We're going to talk about the PPP, which is the Paycheck Protection Program, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, and then we're going to talk about the unemployment option because there's some information that is on the website or was on the website, and they've been changing it literally hour by hour. And so certain people who weren't going to be approved for the unemployment are now able to be approved. So it may be a good option for some of the self-employed people
That's right.
or
And
workers,
I'll be
especially.
getting my wife on that, because she's been really, I mean,
Jump,
well, she
yeah,
got us in line, basically. And let's just touch about base about that, because generally, if you're trying to get in now, you're almost too late. Now, I wouldn't say too
yeah,
late, but man, you are going to be scratching
yeah,
and fighting tooth and nail to get a place. And
yeah.
one of our banks said, "Sorry,
Oh wow,
you're done. Like, we don't have any more. We can't take any applications right now." And then we got in with our other bank. And one other thing too is watch out for the banks who will do a switcheroo on you. Oh, we don't got that loan, but we'll do this loan for you. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
mhm,
it's not the loan that you want, you know. That one you're gonna have to pay back with a lot of interest. So
yeah,
watch out.
for sure. And
Um,
you're probably talking. There is one that a lot of banks are offering now. It's the SBA Express Bridge Loan, is what they're calling it. And then there's the economic injury disaster
yeah,
loan too. So I think those are 5 viable options for self-employed business owners, just anybody that's working.
yeah, yeah.
So we're not working actually, because some of these you can get anyway if you are not even employed. I see your wife in the background, Miss Toledo. Is she ready to jump on?
Yeah, she's coming right now. She's grab a seat,
All
lady.
right. Let's
This
see
is
if I can
the
expand this. There we go. Here we go.
here's your headphones right here. So this is the lady in charge that runs Dent Time right here. So
The
she's coming in.
enforcer, huh?
Get your come on. You need a higher chair. So, here.
Scoot over there.
I can't get any lower.
My, my husband always need to tease me.
So get that light out.
Can you hear me?
Right here.
Good evening.
Oh, okay. I can hear myself now.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. This is Christopher
Perfect.
Ray. Christopher Ray, this is my wife, Mary.
Mary, how you
Okay.
doing? Good evening.
So go ahead, Ray. Can you just summarize what you were just saying?
Yeah, so we're gonna go over the 5 options for um, anybody, any worker, primarily, maybe self-employed. I know there's a lot of self-employed guys out here, so I'm trying to bring that information to them. So the 5 things we're gonna go over is the stimulus check, the $1,200 stimulus check. We're gonna go over the PPP, We're gonna go over some of the unemployment options because they changed some of the rules in that latest bill that Trump signed. Then we're gonna go talk about the economical injury disaster loan, and then there's this new loan that I was doing research today for certain banks. They're doing the SBA Express Bridge loan. So and it's right on there, the SBA website for that one. So which one do you want to start with first?
What do you think, Mary?
5 things. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know. It's up to you, Ray. I mean, what's your research? You said that they change on the unemployment for those.
So yeah. So normally you couldn't be a subcontractor if to apply for unemployment. And so now that's changed. Now
Yeah,
you and
and now they're
7 million.
accepting that, right? You're saying
No, now they're not
they're
accepting.
not accepting it?
Is that what you mean? They're
No,
not.
they are accepting.
Yeah.
They before the rule was that the unemployment, if
Oh,
you're subcontractor, you're not eligible for unemployment because you don't pay into it.
yeah. Okay. I thought there's a new rule that just recently changed because from what I know with this um act, the CARES Act that they have,
Mhm.
the
Let's
sole
see your face.
proprietorship as well as the what do you call
Self-employed.
this? Subcontractors
Yeah.
are allowed to apply now for the
Yes.
unemployment. And I can see why. Do you understand why they did that? Because
No, you can explain it. I know they changed that to now accept it, so if you wanna elaborate on it.
well, if you look at it, like because I usually look at things outside the box. If you look at it, normally people when they applying for a loan, it's just like only let's say California got hit or either that United States got hit. But since this is like global, and it's a problem that the whole United States, how many states do we have? 51 states. It's like shut down. No one is actually working, so even the independent contractors as well as the sole proprietorship businesses were all closed, so no one's making any money. So I think that's why the Congress the one who makes the law, and then the president just basically sign it whether he
Right.
agrees with it or not. So I think that what they decided to do is like, let's make it fair for everyone. Obviously, they're not going to get everyone, you know what I mean? Because they draw up the law or the CARES Act in like what, 2 days or 3 days, and then they have to like negotiate with it, the two parties, whether what's fair for everyone. And so
Right.
I think that's why the independent contractors and the what do you call this, sole
Self-employed.
proprietorships are
Yeah,
included now, whereas before they're not.
right. So that's an avenue that all of us can tap in right now.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before, because I know a lot of people are doing chasing hail, and they're like independent contractors. So
Right.
those people, they can apply too if they don't have any work right now, so they can apply.
Right, that's the only requirement, right? You gotta show that the loss because of the, um, pandemic, which
Yeah,
should
you
be
have to
easy to
prove that
to
you're
show.
not working. Yeah,
Right, right, and
and
then there's no requirement. I heard they're not I guess for the first 6 months, there's no requirement for you to search for jobs because there's obviously nobody hiring right now, and so that's
exactly.
right. So you don't have to do that, and then, I think if you're trying to get a house, that lapse is not it's being kind of um, dismissed, I should say, from loan from different banks. So that's
What do you mean by that? What do you
so
mean?
normally when you're unemployment, obviously you're not employed, and so you need like a 2-year window when you're actually employed in order for you to get a loan for a
Oh,
house
okay, yeah,
In
got
order
it.
and
for you to
so
qualify, you have to.
qualify for the house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
And
I
so go ahead.
I think Ray, can I call you Ray instead of
Yeah,
Chris?
that's fine. Like whatever's easier for people.
Sorry.
Some people like Chris and some people are
Let me
like,
call you. Let me see here,
Let me just
CR.
call you Ray.
Here, let me call you
"CR,
CR Ray Ray.
how you doing?"
What?
No, it's fine.
No, I think what happened is that back in the old days, if you're going to apply, obviously for any loan or even the unemployment, there's always stipulations and rules and regulations you have to follow. In order for the help to get to the people right away, they try to bypass all of that. So they're saying, okay, rather than asking for all these documents and all this blah 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 stipulation, we're going to make it easy for these people because these people are not working anymore, and some of them are living paycheck to paycheck. So in order for the money to get to them fast, we can like, you know it's almost like the way I look at it, it's like take a shortcut, you know what I'm saying? But then
Right.
I think what the problem right now, Ray, because like obviously I'm like thinking, wow, they said the EIDL, which is the economic injury disaster loan, they said if you apply within 3 days, you should have $10,000 in your bank account or whatever, whatever. Well, I was telling Myke, I said, okay, we're not hurting right now, but obviously we don't know how long this thing's gonna take.
Right.
So it doesn't hurt to apply, right? So I did that and I got this like 10-digit numbers. And I was like,
Right.
wow, it's almost like the waiting period is a long time.
Dude,
And
you
it's
know what it feels like? It feels like getting a number through Beetlejuice, dude. Remember? Like when he dies and he gets the number, it's like 1,275 in line, dude.
Yeah.
exactly.
He does the switcheroo.
And then I actually the first time I applied, I was like, maybe, that's an error. Let me try it
Right.
again. And then it's the same thing again. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then I did a little bit more digging and then I realized that the thing was they're backed up. Everyone's
Yeah.
applying at the same time because everyone is in the same boat. We're all
Right.
in the same boat. No one's got whatever, whatever. No one's got a job. So that's why they're like trying to what do you call this? What are you doing? Sorry, right? So basically they're trying to I guess fix that problem, but it's kind of hard because what the federal is saying and what actually the banks are trying to do are two different
Yeah, they're
things.
trying to get on the same
Right.
page, basically.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like nobody knows what the guidelines are between each other. So
Right.
No,
it's,
the
it's kind of
federal
like it's kind of like they're winging it as they go.
no,
And it
no,
looks like oh,
federal
go ahead.
the federal gave them the guidelines, but here's the problem. It's like what is that red tape with the banks? I mean,
Yeah.
everyone knows. I mean, the banks know that everyone doesn't have a job anymore, right? So
Right.
they have to be cautious who they're gonna like lend the money to. So basically, the federal is saying one thing, but then the banks are saying another thing. So
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think the IRS kind of stepped in, and now you can apply for that stimulus check like on their site now. I mean, it's getting crazy.
What do you mean? Like now you can
So
borrow money from
now,
the IRS? I don't want to do that.
now you can now you if you didn't file taxes, I think as of yesterday, you can go online. If you didn't file taxes,
I
18
heard
and 19, you can go online and then submit your information now through in the IRS website now.
I think okay. I read that one different than you. The way I understood it is that for those people who doesn't file taxes, obviously there's no way of knowing how the IRS will pay you the $1,200 per
Right.
person. So the way they decided to do it is they created a new website. You go straight to the IRS website. It's irs.gov. I actually made a note here. Yeah, irs.gov, and then you put in your bank information, your social security number, so that way the IRS will have a record of who you are, so they can pay you. Because there are people
Right.
that doesn't file taxes.
Right, or don't need to in that regard,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
and I
yeah.
think it was something with the check, so if, like, you need to make changes, like, some people have a H&R block, I guess, if they go to H&R block, they have a routing number and account number through H&R, and then H&R I didn't know this 'cause I haven't done with H&R at all in my
Uh-huh.
lifetime, so but I think if you get your taxes done by H&R or TurboTax or whatever, it may go into their routing number, their accounting number, and so you gotta make sure H&R Block and places like that kinda, doesn't hold your stimulus check because 'cause they're going to use what's in your 19 and 18 as far as direct deposit information.
Hmm.
If they're the one who's filing your taxes, is that what you're saying? For the,
Yeah. If because normally, if you go to H&R Block, you file the taxes, you put in the information, the routing number,
Mhm,
and account number.
mhm.
Well, a lot of times, either H&R sometimes will write you a check or whatever the agreement with you and H&R, but the stimulus check will have the direct deposit on your filing, but it'll be H&R Block. So
Ah,
how do you get your stimulus check if the last 5 years you went to H&R Block? So
yeah,
that website also helps you to, fix that issue and get it mailed to you.
yeah, yeah. I heard about that
So
H&R like years ago.
So you
yeah,
gotta just get
and
your
so I
personal accountant, man. That's what you
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
H&R is a CPA
I know. I
company.
know.
yeah.
But
So,
we
I
don't
mean,
need
that is there anything else we need to go over on the unemployment before we switch over to that stimulus check? So we're doing like a combo, I guess.
I think we covered most of it. It's pretty much like, you know what? Here's the thing. My thought on that is that rather than waiting for the loan to process, if you're gonna take advantage of idle or
The
what the
PPP.
PPP
Mhm.
program, then I think unemployment will be a lot faster.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Because it's like a waiting period.
Have you have you done any research on, uh I mean, it looks like there's like 7 million people on unemployment.
There's a lot.
I
I,
mean,
I thought there was more than that.
last
Oh,
last thing I saw was 7 million. That was about a week and a half ago, so
no, it's 16 million,
It's a
dude.
lot.
Like, yeah,
That was like
16
a week
million,
ago,
dude.
7
wow.
million. It was like,
Last
Wow.
time I checked, 16 to 20 million,
yeah,
I think that's what it
Oh,
yeah.
is.
wow. So, I mean, I was listening to the news and, they were talking about how what's available, and the gentleman said I think it was like a 2 or $3 trillion, I think it's $2 trillion bill, and he said, "We're prepared to take it all the way up to 6 trillion, an additional 6 trillion."
They're gonna add more because
Right.
yeah.
I don't know, man. I
And
think
and
it's
and
super
and a
scary,
lot of
man.
what'd you say, Mike?
I think it's super scary, man. Like,
Yeah.
when we we I don't know, man. I just like, what are you gonna do with all that? Like, how's that money gonna get paid back, man? Like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
I
know.
don't think they're not
Well,
worried
see,
about it, unfortunately.
that's why I think that it's backed up because it's so disorganized right now. I mean, this is what the federal said. Okay, the stipulation is this. But then the banks are like probably hesitant to either participate, or if they do participate, they haven't received any like protocols on how they should go about it. And then also one of the stuff you need to think about is that I was talking to my lady, my broker, because she's the one who we recently refinanced, right, Dad?
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad we did it. Like what, January, February, because she told me, Mary, if you were to refinanced your house right now, for one, the interest rates had gone up. Second, the law had changed, or the regulation, because now everyone is in the same boat. Not everyone doesn't have a job anymore. So how do you qualify if you don't have a job? And that's the biggest thing to get qualified on refinancing
Refund, yeah.
or even buying a home. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's a little bit of a mess right now.
so
Yeah.
I'm glad I got
Yeah.
in before it got messy.
Okay, so let's get to the next. What's the next one? So the
Yeah,
PP.
the PPP. Let's talk about the Paycheck Protection Program that they got out right now, because I think that's sticky. I haven't been able to apply on my bank, which is, SunTrust, and, I think, at least the research I've been doing is that Wells Fargo, Chase have been doing very well, and I think Chase is really getting back to people within 3 to 6 days, I think, right now, and so that's really good for Chase.
What?
And so go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chris. Yeah,
And
finish.
so, as I talk to different people, I've had one bank for the last 11 years since I've started the business. And so what people have been doing is getting an account through Chase and then applying through that, and that's been working. Um, my bank, SunTrust, if anybody's in SunTrust, Bank of America been doing pretty well also, I've heard, and they were like the first ones to really have everything kinda set up. Now, I don't know if any money has been paid out yet, but, at least you get the application. I haven't even been able to submit an application through SunTrust.
Now, let me ask you, Ray, when you said you haven't been able, did you actually start the process, or you just doesn't have any respond back from the bank you applied to?
So I went to the bank, they told me to go online and, uh, submit your email address, and they'll just put you in line. And so when I went, when I left the bank, I waited a couple hours and went right online, and there was no submission
Yeah.
online. So they were a little there was a little lapse with the communication with their staff and what was actually online. So the very next day, you had that option, and so I filled out all the information, and they're supposed to email you or reach out to you, whatever. I'm just waiting for the next step. They're
Waiting.
sending me emails like every 4 hours telling me, that they're working on it, check
And what
me.
bank is this? Chase?
This is SunTrust.
SunTrust. Okay. And where are you located, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in Maryland.
Okay. The because when you said that you went to the bank, so over here, all our banks are closed. We're in California, and I'm like,
Yeah.
If I want to go to the bank because I want to inquire, what happened to my application, or I can't get through, and they keep sending me emails saying that, oh, we're gonna have one of our rep call you,
Mhm.
and I've got like 2 emails already, and then it's like nada, no one's calling back.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing. So I'm like, well, what do I do? So Mike and I tried calling. I think Mike, even for something else, a different issue, we were like on
2
hold for
hours.
2, 3 hours. At
Mm.
one point, it was like 3 to 4 hours, and this is just like to dispute like something. So I'm like thinking, what is going on? So I did apply and try the PPP. We bank with Chase, and somehow I can't get through. But I did
Okay.
receive an email saying that we're gonna have one of our tech or one of our representative follow up with you or call you to finish the application, because I haven't even started the application.
Yeah. Me
Every
too.
time I try to do it, the
And
somehow
does it crash?
yeah, something's going on. I even asked Vince about it, but Vince somehow I think got through. I don't know
Oh,
how.
nice. Do you know which bank Vince was in?
Chase.
Chase, yeah. I
Bank
heard
with
Chase was
Chase.
very good.
I don't know
Chase
why we
was
didn't get through. It's weird.
Well, they said a lot, like the loans that they had for that PPP are gone, already taken up.
That's Wells Fargo.
Was it Wells
I
Fargo?
think I
well,
think the way they do it for each bank, they grab like let's say 1 million here, 2 million there. So you get a sign of how many millions you get to disperse to your
Or
customers.
billions?
right.
And then for Wells Fargo, they started so early, so all their customers had applied and they got overwhelmed. So by the time the federal said, "Okay, it's up and running now," they are already like they're done. All the
Yeah.
funds are pretty much like almost gone.
Well, I think Wells Fargo opened it back up, but this was when I was reading that article, it was about 4 days ago, 3 days ago, and so they may have closed it by now, but they allowed more applicants to come in. They didn't anticipate that many people needing it, and so I guess what they did whatever they needed to do to get more funding from the government or
I guess the real question is though, like let's say you did able to get that, how long is it going to take you to get your money? Let's just say that.
yeah, I
I
know.
That's the
Gonna be
question.
well, that depends on
This
the bank, Mike.
stimulus check is not even out yet.
No, I know
Like,
that.
no one hasn't even got paid off the stimulus check yet, so
Well,
Yeah.
that's what's so scary because some people, like who haven't actually worked in 3 weeks,
yeah,
or 4 weeks, let's just say that, um, now they're starting to hurt. You know what I mean? Like, especially unfortunately for the people who, you know, I wouldn't say, I mean, a paycheck to paycheck is kind of a harsh thing, but
right,
people have a limited budget of what they do live off of, and that's really scary and stressful at the same time. So
yeah, for sure.
It is, but you know what? Here's the thing. It's like it's not just like California and like the West Coast. It's like the whole United States, and it's like we can't help it. It's like the whole world. Like even with my relatives who still in the Philippines, they're in the same boat. You know what's good about with us? We have actually stimulus package. Over there, they don't get any stimulus package. And my
Right,
my
yeah,
brother owns like 3 stores, and they don't have any like they don't
yeah,
get anything from their government. There's no support.
yeah,
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And then I think the thing is that it depends on the banks on how fast they disperse the money, but it also depends on how picky the bank's going to be with their lending process. Like I said, they're going to be, I think the bank probably is hesitant because I was talking to my lady. Probably the bank is kind of hesitant, thinking like, well, should I loan, to Myke Toledo, who, yeah, he's got an account, but et cetera, et cetera. It's like those are the stuff that they're gonna be asking, because
right.
everyone is in the
what is
same
that? The
boat.
SBA.gov?
Yep, mhm.
Okay.
So this
I
is
went through
paycheck.
that thing like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, analyzed it like 20 times to figure it out, and it's like it's in the same thing. They just, like, send you a paper. I think that's one of the complaints that people are saying now, that they've applied. Now it's been like a week, and some of them, like, especially the idol, saying that, "Hey, you get your money in your account within 3 days." Well, it's not happening. So, I just think right now everything is so disorganized. That's why we have a waiting period. But guess what? Here's the thing though. I mean, it's good that our Congress have decided that, hey, we're going to put also a thing there that anyone who gets who couldn't pay their mortgage, it's what we have 3 months or 90 days. You're not allowed to kick anyone out.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then same thing with your utilities. You can probably, the best thing to do. I mean, let's normally when we're in a situation like this, I look for like possibility or like solutions on how we can like get ourselves out of this mess. So usually, if you guys are really getting tight, call your utility companies and ask them, hey, this is what I can afford, or can we do like what the deferment? Like same thing with
Yeah.
your mortgage, whether it's a shop or your home.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to do it right now because that's one of the ways you can make money. Just dramatically lower your expenses for the next 2 months because we don't know how long this is going to last. I think at the end, I was doing some research of like China says that they're back to normal, and so there's a couple of vloggers that I've been trying to actually just search for that are in
Mhm.
China, and it's like it's not normal for
Yeah, I
them.
know that.
I don't
I don't
believe
believe
them. There's
I don't believe
stuff
them
they
either. I
say.
never have.
I'm
Never.
sorry,
It's like, I don't know. But I
Bro, we
mean,
haven't had one
they're a
like we had 10
communist
billion people
country.
here. We
yeah,
got 10 billion people, not one new coronavirus.
yeah.
Hey man, all right. All right.
No,
But
I,
it's
I actually heard that they were moving the bodies at night.
oh
You
yeah.
know, you know who said that? It's she's the daughter of John McCain. What's
Okay.
her name? I forget her name.
Mrs. McCain.
No, no,
Oh,
no, no.
Just looking.
uh, anyways, yeah, so yeah,
But
I don't know, man.
what I was trying to get with the seeing them back to normal was because I forget the doctor that's on the news all the time next to Trump.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
Fauci?
Yeah.
y-
Yeah.
yeah, I think he talks very intelligently. He
He
gives
can't
good
say
information.
exactly what really he wants to
He
say,
wants to
dude.
say,
Yeah, you can tell when he's holding
Mike
back
said
from
conspiracy
his
theory.
body language, but like he wants to tell you that the normal in like January is gonna be completely different than the normal in like June and September. Like they don't even know if kids are gonna go back to school in September. And so if they do, he said there will be some differences. And so like he was, they asked to give an example. He was like, restaurants per square footage are only going to be limited to X amount of people inside. I mean, that will crush a business as we're back up to normalcy. And then if it's a restaurant that is kind of tight with space in the city, you can't operate because now only 1/3 of your facility can be used. So and it was the same thing with like China. They have like they scan your
Temper.
temperature and then they give you like a green card. It's on your phone. It's like a
Before
QR
you can
card
go in.
before you can go anywhere. And
Oh
so
my
before you can leave your block, and this is in the city. I mean, she was kind of vlogging. She was like, I was going out, and so they just have these little temperature gauges, and if your temperature is high, they'll I don't know what it is. It's like a
they'll
travel
deny
code or
you.
whatever, and then your QR code will go red. You can still buy stuff, but, when it's red, you're supposed to be quarantined to, like, your block and then just to the grocery
Like
store.
total recall, man.
Yeah, it's insane, and she was like, "That's normal. If you're green, you pretty much can go everywhere and this, that, and the third." But I'm like, there was still checkpoints. I was like, "Yo,
I
this is
think
crazy."
that's China though, but
Yeah,
that's not
yeah,
gonna
I
work
don't think it will last
for
in
us.
in America.
No, we're like,
No,
we'll
not in
take our
America.
chances,
That's
man.
a
You
free
know?
country. Yeah, it's a free world.
Yeah,
But
it would be an
that's
uprising against that.
Well, they're already, I mean, if you look at it right now, like there's a church here in California that they're already going against the state right now. They're
Oh,
like, hey,
wow.
there is what church is that?
I don't remember what it is. It's on the news, but they're like, hey, you know what? Enough's enough, man. So, but anyways, I'm not, I'm not, I guess
I'm
I'm
just like
pretty
this.
optimistic because I'm like, let's get back to work in May,
Yeah, man. I'm
May, you know,
optimistic.
let's get this show on the road, you know.
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to be too hopeful too soon, but I
Yeah.
hope I hope that's the case, man.
Well, I don't want to break it to you guys, but Ray and Mike, it's not going to be, what we had before in the past. It's not going to be like that ever again. This is
Yeah.
our new normal
No,
because
it's not.
yes, it is. I just want to, okay, just hear me out.
No way. This is how me and my wife
This is how me and my
don't
husband,
take
yeah.
any personal, man. This is how
No,
we
no,
go
no.
at
This
it.
Ah,
is
you're
how we
good.
are. But this is no, no. Hear me out, okay? I was hearing that even if the lockdown is left off, we're not going back to normal where, hey, kids can go back to school. That's why the governors are saying they might not be going back to school,
Well,
because what ends up happening is that people are still out there that are still sick. We might not have the peak anymore, or we might not have that many cases, but there's still people out there that's still sick. And if you only need one person to get, I don't know, 10, 100 people sick in
Right.
that short period of time, and the fact that this particular virus, it's so progressive, it's so like potent, it's like it's worse than cancer. If you really think about it, you're dead in 2 weeks.
all right, but all right, all right.
No, but that's
Hold on.
why they're
I know,
saying you
I know.
gotta have the antivirus, because if you have the antivirus, that's the only way we can go back to
All
normal.
right. Here's
Yeah, I agree.
my wife and I are we. This is the debates we have.
It's
So
good debates now.
Let's hear what Ray has to say.
no, I'm okay. Go ahead, Ray, and then I'll come
I'm
back.
more
I'll
optimistic.
close.
I
No,
I'll
think
close the loop.
I was doing some research on other flus, and I just stumbled across like the I'm sorry, the Spanish flu, and
The 1918 one.
yeah, 1918, 1917. I was like, well, how long did it last? Where did it come from? And I got a few more I need to look into, but
Mhm.
it was like a year. And then, people were walking the streets with masks, and, obviously wasn't what we have today, but it's like it went back to normal at around like 1920, 1921. And
Because
it had and it was oddly enough, San Francisco didn't even have like, I think they had like one or two cases out of everybody, like millions dying. And so they were quarantining and all that stuff, stay at home. In fact, I mean, it wasn't the same as nowadays, as far as obviously the restrooms and stuff like that was a little different. They had outhouses in certain areas, so the cleanliness wasn't as up to par as what we have right
we have
now.
now,
So
yeah.
so, but
Yeah.
so a lot of that stuff kind of spiraled out of out of
Okay.
control for them.
Well,
But it,
probably
it was back to normal in like 2 years.
Listen, I'm getting a little like I go to Costco today, man. You should have seen this dude, man. I was like, he took it to the to the extreme. He was like in a full hazmat suit. He had like a respirator on, goggles, a full suit on, and I was like, man, come on, man. Like this is like I'm like getting. I wasn't agitated until this week. Really, I started getting agitated. Like this is
Yeah.
ridiculous, man. You know what I mean? And I get it. I understand it. But um,
So I
I
was
don't know, man. I'm just getting impatient, man. I guess so.
yeah.
Well, we have to look at it. I'm always like this, I'm always trying to understand from that other people's point of view. I think we don't know if that person has a pre-existing condition that going out might be deadly to him. Maybe that's why he's all like wrapped up.
I'm gonna dress up in Darth Vader suit, dude. Next time, dude.
I want the Dark Vader mask, just yeah, like you said.
I am your dent guy.
Stop it. No, here's the thing though, right? The only reason why I said that we might not be going back, not anytime soon. We will probably, but not anytime soon. Until we find the vaccine for this, then we
Yeah.
can say, hey, we're finally blah 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 blah. And the thing is that those people who said, oh, it's just another flu. I know someone who said, and I asked the person because obviously the person is a doctor, and I said, you look, this is like mid-February, and I said, look, what do you think's going on with China? I'm asking you because you're a doctor, and I'm paying attention what's out there, not just what's in United States, what's out there. And then the person said, the doctor friend of mine said, oh, well, it's probably just another flu. I'm like, what?
Hmm.
Well, China is like, their population is so populated, they don't just shut it down if it's not serious. So
Right.
I was like, what? So next thing you know, people getting sick. And I was like, oh, well, see, that's what I'm saying. We don't have to be like, what is this, over the top, but we cannot like sweep it under the rug
I'm not
either.
saying take it. I'm not saying take it under. Let's sleep it on the rug, dude. I'm not saying that at all. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, are we going to actually look? Here's the deal. This is my opinion, and I'm sure some of you guys may agree, some of you may not. But we're going to kill the economy, dude. Like it's
Yeah.
We already
already
know that.
starting to get. It's killing it. It's going to get killed right now. The economy numbers look real good right now, but that's the ripple effect. I mean, that's kind of
Mhm.
like how everybody was, oh, this virus isn't affecting me. I'm still busy. I'm still busy. And then now this week, I talked to a majority of those people who said they were
They
busy,
slow down.
slow down to a halt,
I,
man.
Yeah.
I
Right.
expected
And
that.
that's exactly what's going to keep happening eventually. And I just think it's a double-edged sword, dude. Like, we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this turns
Yeah.
out. And I know I'm optimistic about May, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think you're probably right. Our kids may go back to school. But I
Yeah.
doubt it, dude.
No,
So
no,
I
no.
mean,
California's not going back to school.
I'm talking for the new
in the
year,
next
for
year, yeah.
Oh, for the
September.
new year.
September.
So
I don't know.
I mean, Mary has a point. Maybe there's some vaccine that may come out, but that will, from what I've read, it was basically it continues to mutate, and so it's
Yeah.
just like the common cold. They can't get on top of it because it's mutating, and
You know,
so
it's
they're
slowly.
always 1 year
it's always
behind.
mutating. But here's the thing. I saw it on the news. This guy. There's a case in. Actually, it's close to us in Escondido. He got better now, but I think they took his blood sample because they need to get the plasma or something
Mhm.
to make an
The
yeah,
antibiotics.
exactly.
Antibiotic.
So they,
Well,
I don't know if it's gonna work, but
well,
hey, we have to try.
now I've only watched a few videos. I haven't really dug deep into the Spanish flu, but it seemed to just like go away.
Disappear. Yeah.
Like it mutated pretty much away.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was like, yeah, it kept mutating. And there was a house of like 8 people, 2 people didn't have it. And they literally had to care for their
Okay. Jeez.
what happened?
That was Dawn, dude.
Right, right.
Oh,
Mike is
okay.
messing around.
Jeez.
Stop. You gotta give him like he's talking. So.
I'm like, whoa.
I do that once in a while, dude, because you said something interesting. You're
I
like,
know, but then you're off the train of
I'm
thought.
sorry, Chris. I'm
But,
sorry.
but yeah, it was crazy. Like they couldn't. I think it was the father and like one daughter that had to take care of the rest of the six people in the house, and they never got it. It was absolutely crazy.
So basically, maybe they have like antibodies that they didn't get affected.
Mr. Pink.
That's
Hey,
weird,
he has
huh?
a good. Put his comment up, dude. The last one.
Ooh,
What?
Put his
ooh.
six foot away after it killed 50
Yeah,
million.
You know,
yeah,
what's good
that's
is
unfortunate for sure. Yeah, but it
that-
did though. I mean, yeah, it definitely decimated
You're right.
a lot, but
Yeah.
you
it
know,
did
you
some
know,
damage for
you
sure.
know who's good at this is my son.
It disappeared
Avon. He
after it
like
killed
researched this
half the
stuff.
population of the world, dude.
Did it really kill 50 million?
Yeah, it did. Dude.
It killed a lot of
It
people.
killed
Yeah,
millions, dude. It did.
yeah.
Worldwide.
And
Right?
in the
It did.
yeah, in my defense, the video I was watching, it really didn't have like the numbers. It was just talking about the flu. So I don't want to be insensitive
It
to
did kill a
somebody.
lot, though, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez,
So
50 million. That's a lot of
that's a
people.
lot. I mean, I think that's worldwide, even though that's still a lot of people, especially back in like 1918 or 17ish. So, but yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy that it didn't pass to everybody in the house. I mean, people were. They said that some of them. They were like right beside them. They didn't have any place to put them, and so they survived. And literally, a dead body, a carcass, is right beside them with this virus, and they never got it. I mean, the air. They said there was a lot of pollution and stuff back then in certain cities. It was crazy, and unfortunately, when you got it, you only had about 12 hours. So
Yeah, you have like
they
the
were, yeah, they were putting like foot tags on people
What's
as they were
what's
alive.
what's so mystery about this is they're saying like most people probably have it or already had it,
Yeah,
now, and
yeah.
now they're not even thinking about testing anymore.
well, the
And
reason
so
why well no
and
the
so like, how are we gonna really get a grip on it, and how are we gonna know what to like? I don't get it.
Oh,
well see here's the thing. I think the reason why they're saying that let's not test anymore because we don't have enough test kits.
yeah.
Had we had enough of that, then we could test everyone. But here's the thing: some people would show symptoms. I mean, I when I used to work at the hospital, people who would come. My husband's looking at me because he would say, "Hey, you work at the hospital, so therefore."
No, I'm not saying nothing. It's the
No,
weekend. I don't want to be in the doghouse.
I get it.
even if I go to
It's
the
a weekend
doghouse,
every day.
I
It
don't
seems
go to the doghouse. He's like, "No, I like my bed."
Wow.
No, no. Basically, what I'm saying is that when the difference between the flu and this one, and the reason why I was like so fast, not fascinated, but I was like following it is because I'm like, wow, the minute you show symptoms, you probably had been infected already for 2 weeks or a week, and then after that 2 weeks, showing symptoms. Within 5 days, you're in ICU, and then within 12 hours, you're dead. So that's like wow. And then not only that, it's like not not one lung, it's like two lungs. Like bilateral
Yeah.
lungs, you're like affected. So therefore, it's not like one is working still. It's like both lungs are like not working, and that's why you can't breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, what is it? The governor's brother, I forgot his name, of New York.
Kumo,
He has it.
Como?
Yeah,
Yeah.
from CNN, I think.
Como, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and he was saying that it, like, wants your lungs and stuff like that. I
It's
mean,
always
it's getting
bilateral.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
getting but, I mean, let's keep going. We already did the PPP. Just to talk about the stimulus check, it seemed like they're paying it out in order of, income. So, the lowest income bracket kinda gets the first at least they were saying about printed
I
checks that may
saw
be
that.
different with the, electronic.
We might not even get ours then.
Are you talking about the 1,200 per
Yeah, so
person?
I wanna jump back to
I
the
saw that
1,200.
one. I
Yeah,
saw
that
that one.
that anybody under 10,000 would get it first, and over
Mhm.
30,000, 20,000, and then each
Tech guys will
bracket.
never get yours then.
They literally said if you're, like, over 70 or 80,000 a year, you'll get it somewhere between May and August.
I was thinking
I was like,
September. I was like, if we get it. But then in the beginning they said, oh, within a week or two, it should be in the mail,
Well,
right?
babe, there goes. We're gonna have to have hot dogs for the rest of the
yeah, pretty much.
summer.
And
Well,
it's a credit for 2020. I mean, yeah, 2020 taxes. So
we
if
don't have to
it
file. We don't claim it for our taxes,
no,
right?
but no, you don't have to claim it because it's a credit. It's like an advance for your taxes is what I read.
Uh huh.
So that's why you don't have to it's an advancement of your refund. So if you have no refund, you gotta pay this back for
What?
2020.
Never
That's
heard
what I
that.
read. It's that's how they worded it now. It's not just a random check
I
that
don't
we
want
got
it.
Wait,
in
okay, hold on.
Bush.
Where did you get that information?
Uh, it was an
Because from
article.
what I read, from what I know, and from what's out there, and even the U.S. Chamber of Commerce for the whole United States, it's
Let's see.
basically just it's like a free money for people to help them out because basically the government said, hey, shut down, don't work, and for people to just like abide and follow through. It's like a reward money saying this is a money for you. You don't have to pay it. You don't pay taxes on it. So that's how I understood that.
Yeah, they're wording it, at least when I was reading it, is more of an advancement for the 2020 taxes.
So you're saying that if we don't owe, I mean, if we owe money,
So
we
you
have
owe
to pay
money, and for
that.
2020, you gotta give back the 12 whatever you get.
Oh, hundo.
And
Yeah,
so basically, the money that they're giving us is actually, I mean, for the money that
It's a
giving
loan.
those
it's
people,
a loan.
it's
Yeah,
a,
it's a
an,
tax-free loan.
Yeah.
Now, if let's say you
And
normally get back
interest free then?
5,000, then 2020, which will be 2021, tax year, you'll
when
in
did they
around
change
April, you
that?
get huh?
When did they change that?
I'll send you the information that I
Yeah,
have.
send me the information.
Yeah, and so but that's what I read, and I was like, "Wow, they changed it."
I
Makes
just tell them
sense,
keep that
but
thing.
it changed it.
Well, that's why we.
Give me 1,200. I'll give it
Well,
back to
no,
you
here's the thing.
Well,
Okay,
it's an advancement for your
right now.
so
your refund
yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
those
your
people who
refund for
claim refund.
2021. Yeah.
Well, see, so okay, I'll be so mad if they change that because that's not how they put it
Yeah,
out
that's
It's
there.
not
not
how
what
they portrayed it, right?
Well,
that's
that's
Yeah,
not how
not.
what Trump said.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah. We're gonna put it in your
yeah,
pocket, and
you get
that's yours.
400 for every American.
But
But
later on, I'm gonna switch it on you.
I mean, look, they said 3 days, 10,000 will be in every business's account. Just apply here. It's
Adam
been
Jones.
like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
expect a
see,
1099, dude.
see, that's the thing, right? When things keeps changing, especially when they
That's
already
government.
made announcement already, this is what it's gonna be. That's the kind of stuff that I get mad on
Right.
because it's like, look, dude, this is what I'm looking forward to, and then now you change it, change it on me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the PPP, just to answer your question here. Oops. The PPP is a loan, but it is supposed if you use the funds in the right case,
Like for
they will
employees.
turn it into a grant. But it
hmm
has to be a loan because obviously banks, from what I'm gathering, banks don't give out grants, I guess,
you have to start as a
but
loan.
you have to start it as a loan.
Yeah. Yeah, and then later on they will determine according to what's going on with your business or your company or what
Right.
happened within that 3 months period.
Yeah.
No,
What
eight
did you
weeks period. They're gonna determine whether they're gonna give you the grant or not, or a partial grant.
Right.
That's how I
Lee
read it.
says if you get the accountant told him if you get a loan, put it in a separate account.
Yeah.
What's that mean? Like why would you do that?
An accountant told me if you get a loan, put it in a separate account. What do you mean? Because that's not specific. I don't know
Well,
what.
I think what he's saying is you have to justify that the money went to payroll, your rent, and this, that. And it's just it may be easier to justify that
No, no.
because it's so what Imma do if I get anything,
Business.
it is going into a separate account, but still managed under, the same bank.
I
Yeah.
think what Lee is trying to say is that if you get a loan, let's say a 10 grand loan, put it in a separate account so that way you can differentiate the money that you already have in the account and
Right.
then the one that they lend you.
So
So
they have
that
a track record, so you
Yeah.
can trace
it's
it.
clean. So
Uh-huh.
that way
Right.
you can show, hey, this is where it went. I qualify for the grant, etc., etc.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Then
Yeah.
see,
Makes sense
you can
though.
see the comments right there.
So what
So
else? Document each expense. Yep. Well, Lee, the question is that's if we even get to that,
Yeah.
if we get our foot on the door because everyone is doing it at the same
I got a
time. I
bank
can't
account,
even
but nothing's in it.
my number is like remember 10 digits.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Mine
That's
starts
why
with a 3. I heard
Yeah.
some people start with 6. I'm
that's
like,
what I
"Oh,
told
great."
Mike when this thing started, or even before it started. I said, Dad, I'm sending my advertising out there and my whatever special I'm having out there because we're gonna try to get as much as we can before this thing goes down.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you gotta give it a month anyway. I mean, but apply if you can, especially for everything. And then PPP, um, if you're self-employed, you could apply for that. So you can still get the stimulus check, obviously the unemployment and the PPP if you're unemployed. I mean, I'm sorry, self-employed. So that's pretty good. Or a subcontractor, you can apply for PPP
Yeah,
now.
that which has never been done before, like as a contract subcontractor. Before they were kinda anything if this was anything else, they'd be out. So
Yeah. And so I'm not anybody's financial advisor or anything like that, but it sounds like those are 3 avenues right there if you're self-employed or a subcontractor, or, anybody that's been impacted by this pandemic.
yeah.
Is that what you interpret, Miss Toledo?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. If you're self-employed, you can do yeah. I think the self-employed I don't know if the self-employed can qualify for PPP though, Ray. Because
You
if you're
sure?
self-employed, you need to have a payroll. You need to have people that's on the payroll.
But you're
Oh yeah,
self-employed.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about independent contractors. For independent
Yeah,
contractors, yeah, you
I
can't do
think
PPP. You can only do two: the idle and
let me
the
see.
unemployment.
Yeah, but what if they're paying their own workman's comp? Aren't they considered as
Work
self-employed?
no
No?
workman's comp is not a payroll. Then
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I
insurance.
read that it was subcontracted, but I mean, this is the point of this discussion. Just they're constantly changing things, and so I'm gonna do some research. Hopefully, we'll have
Yeah. Well,
a
good, 'cause
Well,
it's called
well,
the
into
hocus
well,
this.
pocus
well,
applications,
hold on.
man.
Here's what I was
Let me
gonna
see.
shed some light. Right, when they say payroll, you're actually on the payroll. So there are
Right.
people that are self-employed there that actually pays themselves a payroll besides the distribution and a payroll. But if you're a self-employed and you just take the money at the end of the month and you don't actually file a payroll with your state, then you don't have a payroll. Do you understand what I mean? They're not going to look at you as a company that has a payroll if you didn't file with your state that you're going to be under the payroll.
Yeah. So it just says, independent contractors and self-employed right here in the Paycheck Protection Program right here.
Let's see who can apply. Let's see. The way I understood that one is a
And
different
this
type of loan.
literally, from the article I read, like changed like in the last 72
Okay,
hours.
I was gonna say because we checked it out.
So
Same
yeah.
Yeah,
thing.
I'm
So
looking.
this
I'm
is
looking at that
crazy.
one now. Yeah. I'm looking at that one. The way I
Then Trainer
understood,
has a page on PPP.
I think the way they worded this coronavirus relief options is that they're saying CARES Act, and under CARES Act, there's a lot of provisions. There's the idle, there's the PPP, there's unemployment. So the way they explained it, and the correct me if I'm wrong, the way I understood it, it's like whatever applies to you. So basically, I can, for us, the PPP applies to us, the idle can apply to us, as well as the unemployment. But for the contractors who doesn't pay themselves a payroll, the PPP doesn't. It's not going to work, I don't think. Because what happened is that when you put somebody on the payroll, you actually apply. Like for example, we're in the state of California. I had opened up an EDD account with the state of California to put us on the payroll.
Right.
And the reason why we're on the payroll is because we're an S corporation,
Right.
LLC.
Right.
So anyone who's like a mom and pops, we started as a sole proprietorship, but then later on, I LLC the company,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to choose whether you want to be an corporation C or an S corporation. So if you're an S corporation, you pay yourself a payroll.
Right.
I just do dents.
No, I get it.
All I
I'm
do.
sorry. I'm
We're
sorry.
all
That's
we're
why
all
I'm
diving
I
into this.
Okay, she's
SBA.
going super deep. I think you lost half of the guys out there. and
No,
girls. I mean, like,
no, but people
you guys have any questions? You can email her directly.
I'm
Let's throw
looking
it
at
in the
what
chat.
I'm
I'll put it
like,
up, guys.
I'm
I'm
like,
sorry.
Me too. I was just like, okay, all right.
No. I'm sorry, Ray, but I have to give the right information because I
No,
asked
for
that
sure.
myself. I asked that myself. Do I qualify for the payroll? Yes, I am because I'm paying taxes, and because I pay us a payroll and I'm paying taxes on that quarterly. So I do that 4 times a year besides the end of the year taxes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah. Anyways,
So,
sorry. Ray is going, oh, Mary.
He says have Mary start her
start
own.
our own website.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The PDR consultant,
Yeah.
the financer.
No, I do have my own podcast that I just jump started again because finally I'm like home, but I don't put it out there yet.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I will eventually when I do.
Yeah, we won't. Nobody will come on our show anymore, Chris.
Well, actually, Mike and
Uh,
I started it like what 2-3 years ago. He was on it for like 2 or 3 episodes.
That's a hoot, dude. You guys maybe not want to listen to that.
We had an episode about like the birds and the bees.
Oh man.
Yeah. Okay. So what's next on
So
your
the next one is this economic injury disaster, which is the 10,000. I think we briefly touched about it, but is there any new information that came out with this that we haven't spoke about?
I'm on the waiting list.
Yeah, I think we
they
all are.
they make you apply, and then but you know what? Hey, kudos to the website because at least it it acknowledged that I applied and I was able to get through, and it gave me an assigned numbers. It's like 10-digit numbers.
Right, yeah.
But when they said on the site that hey, you're gonna get your money in 3 days, it's it's not happening. And I think we can't. I'm not blaming them either because, like I said, a lot of people are applying, and somehow it may be like everything's disorganized, so it's nothing's organized yet. So the money is not dispersed yet. It's like at least I have a number. That's
is
basically it.
mail? No, it's not $500 for an 8-inch dent. It's more like $750 for an 8-inch dent. So
What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
he's talking. He's just saying you charge 500 for an 8-inch dent. You don't have any money in the bank. He goes, what am I missing? No, it's $750 for
Yeah.
an 8-inch dent. So.
And you're probably missing insurance, advertising, brick and mortar building. You're probably
Kids,
missing all of that
food.
too.
Yeah,
An
So
car
8-inch
payment.
dent.
carpet, yeah.
Hey,
All
if
that stuff
people do
to
charge more than that.
Yeah, college fund. all that.
yeah.
Um,
Retirement. You know, it's the stuff that
No,
typical businesses pay if I would just work for Metro.
yeah,
hey, Ray,
yeah.
this is the way I look
She
at
is
it.
on point, by the way.
Yeah.
This is the way I look at it. And I always tell Mike, I said, even though you guys start your own business and you just started,
Yeah.
You always should treat your business, doesn't matter how small or how big you are, like a professional business.
Yes.
And when Mike and I started, I'm like, nope, we're not doing it that way. We're doing it this way. Then he comes along and does the advertising, which is, good for us, because rather than paying a lot of money for companies out there who probably is like gonna, like, I don't want to say the bad word, but like,
Take advantage.
okay, take advantage of us, then I'd rather have someone that's like in a company that wants the company to grow without having
Well,
to
that's what
spend a
everybody
lot of
should do.
money for
That's what everybody
advertising.
should
Yeah.
be doing anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
this injury disaster loan, is there any interest that accrues for this loan? What's the length of the loan? I don't have any of that information.
It's
Y-
3% for the
Okay.
injury. I believe it's three to four. The first 10 grand, it's supposed to be a grant, they said.
Oh, okay.
But because everyone wants to take advantage of that, everyone's applying. So now it's like backed up. So no
Okay.
one's getting their money at all.
Oh, wow.
Because if you say it out there, hey, it's 10 grand free money, obviously everyone's going to take advantage, right? It doesn't matter if you have money or not, but everyone's going to take advantage, because it'll be stupid for anyone not to take free
Not to
money,
do, yeah.
correct? Right?
Correct. Yeah.
Because some of these people, I mean, I think some of the people that I saw that was being interviewed, they said, "Should you apply for unemployment?" And then one of the gal that they interviewed on the news, she said, "Look, I've never done unemployment before. I've always had a job. Yes, in the beginning, it was hard for me to swallow that. Hey, I'm gonna apply for unemployment. But you know what? She didn't want to be in this position, but this is her. This is her. Probably, this is how she can save herself. Yeah, apply for unemployment. Don't, that's not even a question. So, anyways, when they throw out there that, hey, 10 grand free money, or
Yeah.
10, yeah, 10 grand free money, everyone's going to apply. So
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Um,
And you don't have to pay it. By the way, you don't have to pay it 6 months from the time that you receive the money. But
Oh,
since
wow.
no one's getting their money anyway, so I don't know
well,
what happened.
it will someday. I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah. And that's the
um,
same way with the paycheck protection, and it matures in 2 years at a 1% interest rate. So if that doesn't even turn into a grant, or is not allowed to turn into the grant because you used it for outside things other than the 3 or 4 things that they want you to use it for, which is payroll, utilities, and rent or mortgage. It's a 2-year loan at 1%.
That's not bad though.
no, so
Yeah.
$200 a year,
So
like
we talk about free
$10,000.
money, it's 1%.
So it's not bad, because I think this will probably, to tell the truth, I usually look at projection here, like 5 years, 2 years, whatever that is. I think this will actually be good for companies that once we are out of this lockdown,
Right.
and to retain your employees. Do you know that to hire new employees, to train them, to find out, to interview them, to make sure that this is the right fit for you, that this employee is not gonna quit within a year or two
Right.
years, and they're gonna be loyal to you, that will cost a lot of money to a company.
Yeah, for sure.
So as much as possible, you want to retain your employees. And this is why they're saying, we're gonna help you guys out. It's just that
Yeah.
I don't know how we're gonna get to the money yet, because everyone's trying to apply.
Yeah. It's a tough
You'd
thing.
you'd probably be honestly a not that intelligent person if you didn't apply. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
I just like how you put it, Mike. You're kind of like not intelligent if you
Yeah.
didn't.
I mean, it's kinda
it's
no-brainer,
true.
unless you foresee, like, the whole United
I'm
States
trying to say it as nice
collapsing,
as possible.
but
Hey, unless you have a lot of money to
yeah.
to go through. But even with that, I mean, I think the American way is that you make the money, you save the money for your retirement. I know some people that they don't want to tap into their retirement, right?
No.
Right.
So
Now
so why would you not apply if you qualify, and then you don't, then your retirement's intact. So if you didn't apply because you think you have a lot of money, well, I don't know.
right. So there is some new rules that came out with the bill too that you can tap in, new terms for 401k. The 401k was absolutely
Now
amazing. And
getting heavy hit.
emergency
Oh, I
fund
heard about
penalty is tax-free for 3 years
that.
with
You don't get
extended.
penalized.
So you don't get penalized if you
Mhm.
guys, well, at least again, I'm not your financial advisor. No one here is anyone's financial
No,
advisor.
the
We're not
way they're saying
CPA.
it is
It,
that if you have money put aside for your retirement and you really need the money now and you
yeah,
can't wait for the government's help, you can't tap into your retirement. I
there's no
mean,
fee, yeah,
but and they're not going to penalize you for tapping into it early, because normally if you take money out early, you get penalized for it.
yeah.
And
And this was
something
passed
like
on the
that.
bill, right? This was passed in the bill a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yes, this
That
is
is
part of
like
the bill. So, because
yeah,
the way our government is looking at it, hey, what about those people that doesn't work anymore and they just get money from the retirement, and then obviously they're not making any money to pay for their daily stuff expenses. So how do they create income or money to pay for expenses? Then
right.
there you go.
Yeah, that was an
Yeah,
interesting point. Can you leave that comment back up, dude? I
yeah.
just read that one.
What
It
comment?
says
Sorry.
my wife and employee
Don't want
don't
to
want to come
come
back
back
because they
because
make more money on unemployment. Well, for
If they can get the money.
until they can run that wave,
yeah.
right? You know what I mean?
Y
Hey,
Uh,
there's
eh
a stipulation to that unemployment too. I think it's until what? I forget now. I was reading about it. It's,
yeah, I
they,
have no
they,
information on
do
that
you
one.
remember that, Ray?
No, I did not apply for the unemployment, so I haven't even done any research on that.
Because normally,
Or very little.
normally unemployment, they're saying, because when you do unemployment too, I think what happens is that they make you look for a job. Well, since that
Yeah,
we are on the lockdown, they cannot make you look for a job. So people don't want to come back but that's gonna run out.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Then maybe those are the employees that you don't want to rehire.
yeah, especially if they want to make
all
more
right. So can we talk about are we done with the subject or
So one more, I think this may be, useful to some people who instantly need an injection of cash real quick, is the SBA, let me change this thing. The, Express Bridge loan, and I did not see this,
This is a
last
new
week.
one. I haven't
So
seen
this
it.
is new.
Yeah, this
And
how new is this? Like within 24 hours or what?
well, SunTrust offered me this when I went to ask about the
I'm so
PPP, and I was like, "No, I don't want your loan." And, but it is, they were saying it's up to 25,000. I believe it's SunTrust, I think it was like 5%. And you within like 72 hours you can get an injection of up to $25,000. Now this doesn't turn into any um grant, but and I don't know any information about this loan.
Let me ask you something. Hold on, hold on. Keep it there. It says will be repaid in full.
yeah, but what's the interest rate on that thing?
Yeah, what's the interest rate?
Yeah,
For only 19.5%.
They didn't tell you, Ray? What's
no, I didn't. It and literally I'm
The
going through
sucker
it.
loan, dude.
Like, I don't know, maybe it's in the fine print
But you know
here.
what? I don't think it will be that high either, the interest rate, Mike, because this is something
No, I
that
know, but I bet you I don't know. There's got to be a catch to
because
this one.
usually SBA is low interest rate anyway, because it's
Yeah,
for businesses, you know what I mean?
I think they told me 5%. I think
No
that's what they told me.
way.
Yeah, I think they told
5%?
me 5%.
This is
'Cause
the
if they would've
express.
said 3, I would've recommended to, some of my friends, because it was around the same amount of money that the
Oh, it's like
So
almost like a
so let
home
me
loan almost.
so
pretty
let me
pretty
ask you
much, yeah.
something, Ray. Did they say that this is not forgiven, or is it possibly it might be forgiven because it will roll over to the idle? I saw something in the
Right, it rolls over, so maybe you sign up for the 25,000 pilot program to
uh-huh,
instantly get some cash, and
uh-huh,
then if you're ineligible for that, then obviously you still have this $25,000 loan to pay off, but you
uh-huh.
are, then I guess it rolls over into that loan. So
So if
this
it
may
rolls
be the avenue for someone that is really, really tight right now.
Yeah, so if it roll over to the idle loan, then the first 10 grand is grant, right?
It well, yeah. The first 10 grand is
At
a
least that's
is
what
a
the idle was saying. The first 10 grand
Huh.
is yeah.
oh, look, lender may charge up to
Oh,
6.5%
that's
over
That's a
prime rate,
not
which is
that's a lot.
0 now
That's a
anyway.
Mike is good in math. So
I'm out.
6.5 and a
Yeah,
25,000. What is it,
over
Bob?
Like
prime rate though.
let me,
So it's
let
like
me-
7 something, right?
What is it?
No, it's like 1,300-1,400 bucks, man.
for the whole 25 grand, right?
Yeah, it's
Correct?
not. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not like super bad, but
It's
it's not
not,
like.
yeah, it's
I mean,
not
it's not
super
as
bad.
what it's not what you can get. You know, other
Well,
things.
well,
Hold
here's,
on. Express
Oh,
interest. I bet they keep doing it plus
well,
six and a half
yeah, what is
percent.
that? All
plus
this
prime. Yeah.
plus prime. What rate allowed to prime plus 6.5? Oh, so there's a,
Or cannot exceed.
Yeah, it cannot exceed. Yeah. So,
I mean, it's
but this is instant, like 72
yeah,
hours is what SunTrust told me. Like,
it's not bad, dude. But
I
but you
if
mean,
know
you're in
what?
a pinch, man, I guess that's all. That's
yeah.
good.
And it can roll over into the other loan. That's, I mean,
I wouldn't get it, but
and it's limited to 25. So they're probably not going to approve you for a lot, probably like 10, maybe 8 or something like that at 5% or something like that. So
yeah.
it
Oh, so the maximum is like
the
25,000.
maximum is 25, and then the maximum they can charge you on interest is.
So you hell takes can get your front to get where you got get to the job.
It may make sense for some people. I mean,
I
No,
know.
got
I
no.
wouldn't
jobs,
mind. I mean,
you get
I'm
some advertising going and making money back.
you know how many people I've heard like, hey, they need a front to get where they need to go for the hail job. So
Yeah,
Well, it could work for someone, I mean, it
yeah,
could help someone, especially the ones that needs a quick boost after the lockdown, you know what I mean? So just
yeah,
to get things going again, right?
right. I mean, yeah, this is. I mean, like you said, Mike, if it's what is it? What was the math you said? 1,300 in the
1,400
7 years.
25,000, yeah.
13 to 14. Yeah.
Yeah, 13, 1,400. So in 7 years, you're the one sitting with $25,000 in September, where everybody's hurt. You might be able to, you know, target
It
the market,
You know what?
grow.
We're laughing at. Well, I'm never laughing. I'm not saying. I'm not making fun of anything like that. But I mean, we still don't know how this is going to turn out. Dude.
Yeah,
Like really, I mean,
it's
how long?
unknown. It's unknown.
Because now
yeah,
we're all starting to feel the effects. Now I'm
yeah,
thinking because it's raining like hell today,
It's been raining here
and I was like, man,
a
I
whole
hardly
week.
got anything today.
yeah,
But I don't know.
It's
So
been
we'll see.
yeah,
that actually could work for some people that really needs the money to give their business a boost, Mike. I mean, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Is this are you having us? Do you seen it week by week slowing a little bit more and more down? Or are you like still steady, Chris?
So we went from basically 5 techs to 2 techs, and so there's enough work for the guys to go out like every other day and have a busy day. So, yeah, the business as a whole has definitely, as far as sales numbers, have definitely,
Slow down.
yeah, slowed down. But, um, yeah, but that's basically, at least my guys have the work that are
Some work. Yeah.
staying there. So we do have work. I mean, we had 3 or 4 estimates come in, and we are not doing any advertising at all. We stopped that payment, um, and I'm not recommending doing that for anybody. But Dinking just said prime rate is at 3.25. So that means that loan is going to be somewhere around 9%.
Prime rate is currently
Yeah.
3.25
Holy
plus
crap. So,
6.5. Is that what you're saying? Prime rate plus 6.25.
yeah, it's at plus 6.5.
So it's going to be 10%.
Yeah, it could be almost 10%.
Now, I wonder if there's a
That's
penalty.
$2,500 then extra on top of that
Well,
25 grand.
well, let's look at it this way. Is there a penalty if you prepaid it, like you've paid it early?
I didn't look at it. I
What
didn't, I
look at
didn't,
it down there.
It's almost
yeah,
like an
it's in
auto
there.
loan. You paid early, then you don't have to pay that much.
Yeah, which will make sense.
Does anybody have you heard anything about I guess I haven't heard because I've been trying to pay attention, but
What?
about everybody like first of all, I mean, I know some people love Trump but I unfortunately I can't believe everything even if I wanted to believe that he wants to let everybody go back in May, which I don't think is going to happen, but I'd like
Yeah,
to see it happen.
yeah, for sure.
you know, um,
I mean, I think by June we're gonna have to go back to work. I mean, I don't think the economy is gonna be able to survive.
that's what I'm
Like,
saying. Right?
Well,
we're gonna be like, who cares?
That's why
And I think,
That's why China's letting their people go back there because they can't
yeah,
do it. They can't do
the
it anymore.
factories, yeah, they're
It's
factory
choke.
work. They have to, yeah. I mean,
well,
that's a lot of.
yeah.
I don't know. I guess what do you put a price on people's lives or do you put it on the economy? I that's
Well, you guys
that's
are missing.
crazy.
You guys are missing the big problem here.
Big problem.
Well, the big problem is if we let everyone work, let's just say hypothetically saying everyone's working, people are still sick out there. They get other people sick. Now we have a new wave or new batch of people that are sick. And then obviously if we have them continue to work, then we're gonna have more people that are sick. How are you gonna be productive if you are working with people that are sick and everyone's dying like flies?
S-
How do you do that?
So
So
that means, like you said, there has to be a vaccine,
the only
or
solution is to have the vaccine.
it just mutates like pretty much every other flu
Or,
type.
Or some
we
of us
go
are
back.
just not gonna get it.
N-
Yeah.
No, you can't look at it that way, that because you don't know that. But the way you should look at this is that even if we do, let's say, go back to work slowly, we now have to. We can't go back to the other lifestyles we had. We have to now do a precautionary measures where we have to
We need to go to a
live in
different
the new
planet.
normal.
We need
Yeah,
to go to a different
this is
That's
planet.
our
why
new normal
I
now.
must go to Mars.
Yeah. I'm going to with Elon.
Yeah.
This is our new normal, basically now.
No, it's
I,
not.
I I think maybe for a year. I think this summer will be a lot of masks, a lot of gloves, but I think it will pass. Everything will pass. Everything. And
Once everything is like,
everything passes.
once the virus go away, right?
There's not a government that stayed around
Well,
forever.
you know what it is.
Everything passes.
I don't want to talk about stuff, but I just get mad with why do you even play around with this virus? This virus is, if they say it's inside if it's like the bat who carries the virus, why do we take the bat out of the cave and do all these tests? That's why the reason why nature separated them from us, because there was a reason.
My wife won't even take a snail off the sidewalk, dude. So you know what I mean? Like, let alone a bat out of the cage.
But this is trying times. You're gonna see the human race like get together, and I think a vaccine or something like that. I mean, they're gonna really push the limits of capabilities of humanity. I really do. I mean, you have every single country working on it, so they're bound to come up with something collectively.
Somebody said dies of no vaccine. No way. What is
No
that?
way.
Lights off, no
I
light.
mean,
No vaccines, no way.
I'm gonna do my research on all the flus, but it seemed like there's not a vaccine. I mean, you got smallpox, but I don't think that was a flu, right? That wasn't a virus.
Smallpox is
So,
a different one.
like, I don't think there's any virus that actually
I want
even
to
the
know,
flu.
Chris, how many times have you
He's hugging people.
how many times have you guys, like, all of you, be honest with yourself, you're like if your throat hurt, like if you ate like an acid grape, like, and you're like, oh man, you're like doing it like, and I'm holding my breath for 10 seconds, like to make sure I can hold it
Yep.
without coughing. You know what
Yep.
I mean? I'm
Yep.
like,
I'm
I'm
doing
doing
all the
like checks and stuff, like, and I'm paying attention to my son, like he dips his fingers in the chips and back and forth. I'm like, hey,
Oh no, you're number one, Dad.
no, I know, but I
Don't
pour it.
touch my food.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like,
I'm
hey,
spraying Lysol on money now. I was
Yeah.
like, okay with that.
yeah, yeah. I'm doing some crazy stuff that I never done. Like I told you, I'm like,
Man.
I miss hugging people.
yeah. Shoot.
Oh man. Well, there's another thing that I've read, and I'm about to go check some lease agreements, but there is some type of forgiveness if there's a catastrophe, like something like this pandemic, inside of hopefully every lease. If you had a lawyer look over it, they tend to put this stuff in. And I don't know if that requires you to leave, to vacate the facility or anything like that, but there is some type of forgiveness for a lease for your lease. That could be in your leasing agreement. So please check on that, guys. So those are like the 7 things that I have that you can obviously save. I think it goes both ways, saving and then obviously receiving some type of relief.
Do you have that in yours? Do you have a shop? You have a shop.
Yeah, I have a shop. It's a sublease. It's not in that lease because it's a sublease. It wasn't that important to me, and it's on a month to month now. And then my other shop is on a month to month, which it was always on a month to month. To be honest with you, my new lease.
Month to month.
He was explaining it to me on my new lease. When I literally almost signed for a new lease, probably about like 2 weeks before this whole thing, this lockdown happened. And he was kind of going over with me some of the stuff because you're always fearful. I want to know how long the term was. We're looking at 5 years, and so he was sending me an agreement, and then I was talking to a lawyer about it, and he was putting in these things. And I think it started to go into leasing agreements after like 9/11 because in New York, no one could operate in certain period. You can't operate; it's not your fault, and so
Yeah.
you kind of relieved of this payment. And like I said, I don't know if you have to vacate, and it's like there's no penalty if that was the reason why you needed to vacate, or you can still be there. But I mean, I don't know. They can't evict anybody right now,
They can.
so
It's a good thing that
you
they
really
yeah.
you really have to leverage what you have, and it seems like you can get some forgiveness for the lease and at least for a few payments and the mortgage. Now I know there's some whole bunch of stuff down on the mortgage avenue, and they'll make their money back on the tail end. But if I guess you negotiate it right, you can save yourself, a couple $1,000s a month.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Really hold
like
people.
that's good. That's a good point. You know.
Yeah,
Another thing that I read, and I don't know if there's some truth to it, is that I guess if you have some kind of insurance for your shop, there's a
yeah.
provision there, or there's like a thing there that
Ah,
you can actually file something that whenever we have a disastrous thing like this,
yeah. I didn't even
that
think about that because I
yeah,
think I have it.
that your insurance will pay you money.
Yeah.
And
I
there's
actually gotta
actually
call my insurance guy.
it's an attorney's office that's actually
Well,
was
why didn't we
soliciting.
get up on that?
I don't know, but Mike, it's one of those things where probably states to state. California has all these thousands of rules and regulation compared to other states, but they're saying that you can file a claim with your insurance depending on what kind of insurance you have. That's why they're saying look at your insurance for your shop if you have this.
Yeah.
But
See, Ismail.
I don't think we have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. All right, that was a good topic.
Well, hopefully we helped out a lot of people
Yeah.
that joined in. Again, speak with your CPA and your financial advisor before you do anything, or at least read the fine print. Mary, do you want to say anything before we leave? Anybody?
You want to say something, Mike?
No, I just appreciate you bringing us on here with your podcast there, dude. It came out. This was a very interesting thing, and thank you, Miss Knowledge
Yeah, for
Bomber,
sure. Yeah.
Okay,
and Chris leading the way, and then you kind of just you guys can have your own podcast. So I'm out of here. Shit.
no, all I want to say is that for those people who still like contemplating whether they should apply to any or take advantage any one of these stimulus package, my thing is, or my advice is, you should, because like what Mike said, or like what every one of us are saying, we don't know how long is this gonna last, and it's always good to put something in place.
Yeah.
Or like even if you don't need the money right now, this would be your contingency plan if things didn't work out the way you want it to be.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Have a plan for this. Plan it right now and execute.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I appreciate everybody for joining the show. And don't forget to jump on Mike's YouTube channel. Give him a subscribe. It's Dent Time on YouTube. So and then check out the podcast that he's doing. What is it? A PDR tool? What is it? Dent
DentTimePDR.com.
Time PDR is the podcast. So
Yeah.
check them out. Appreciate it, Miss Toledo, and for jumping
Mm.
on and sharing all the information you've collected. And hopefully it
Thank
helped a
you.
lot
You
of people.
collected some information too. That helped a lot. So thanks for
Yeah.
having
We'll
me.
we'll do a part 2 probably in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, because it seems like it's always changing if
It
you
is.
get anything
Yeah.
out of this.
Always
It's like
It is.
a week ago we weren't half the stuff we weren't talking about.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's
All
pretty
right. Well,
crazy. So
and everybody be safe out there.
definitely.
And thanks for tuning in with Chris and I and the knowledge bomb Mary Toledo here. So yeah, be safe out there.
Appreciate it, guys. See you guys on the next
Thanks,
one.
Ray.
Sweet.
Bye.